The concept for the day that we have is all about the triangle problem. My input value, if I'm entering for A, so it should be within 0 to 100. So let me explain something called boundary value analysis. So now let's look into the flowchart of how exactly my triangle problem is being worked out. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to the yet another important and interesting session on software testing. So fine, all of you all know that this is the session number 5. Hope all of you have seen the previous sessions also. So my dear students, let's get into the session. What is that I have for all of you in this session quickly. So guys, I have only one topic today. Yes, you need to understand this very beautifully. Guys, the concept for the day that we have is all about the triangle problem. This is one of the famous concepts, a wonderful topic that we have. So let's understand what exactly the triangle problem is all about with respect to the software testing. So fine, before I start my problem or before I start my explanation on triangle problem, let's understand some of the basic concepts which is required to understand this topic. So that is what I will call it as a prerequisites. So fine, hope all of you are able to see this. So guys, I have the different types of triangles here which I have mentioned. The first one that I have is equilateral triangle. What exactly equilateral triangle is all about? Say for example, if I have all the 3 equal sides and also 3 equal angles is always 60, that is what I will call it as a equilateral triangle. So let's understand, if all the 3 sides of the triangle, sir, will I have only 3 sides in the triangle? So don't ask me this question, alright? So if I have all the 3 sides, this is side 1, side 2 and side 3. If all the 3 sides are equal, then I will call it as a equilateral triangle. So fine. What is the next one that I have? The next one that I have is isosceles triangle. What exactly isosceles triangle is all about? I will be speaking about this more in this topic. Okay, listen to me carefully. If 2 equal sides, if 2 sides are equal, this side and this side are equal, then that I will call it as a isosceles triangle. Sir, you said one thing in the explanation. So this side and this side. So is that mandatory? So please think, please understand me carefully. If 2 sides are equal, it can be any side. Okay? If 2 sides are equal, then that type of triangle, I will call it as a equilateral triangle. Is it? No, it is isosceles triangle. So please make a note of it. So whenever it comes to isosceles, 2 sides are equal. When it comes to equilateral, so all the 3 sides are equal. That's what you need to remember. When it comes to scalene triangle, okay, so no equal sides. So no equal sides. All the sides, whatever I have, it is different. So that's what I will call it as a scalene triangle. So that's what you need to remember here. So this is the prerequisite that you should have the knowledge with respect to the triangles. So fine. So what is the question that we have? Let me read out the question to all of you. You have to listen to me carefully. So fine. Consider a simple program to classify a triangle. When I have a concept to classify, you need to understand that, okay, we have different type of triangles. So fine, I have to classify it. How do I do that? So let's understand. Its inputs is a triple of positive integer. You will have 3 inputs. All the 3 inputs should be positive integer. So that is what they are mentioning it as x, y, z. So your input is x, y, z. These x, y, z should be positive integer. That is the first thing that you have to understand. Fine. And the data type of the integer parameter, ensure that this will be an integer greater than 0 and less than or equal to 100. So please understand the limit. Okay. So this is what we call it as a boundary values. All right. So what is this boundary values? I will be speaking about it. So you just have to understand the question. It should be greater than 0 and less than or equal to 100. Suppose if I give the values which is not in this range, then it will be invalid. So that's what you need to understand with respect to the range. My input value, if I'm entering for A, so it should be within 0 to 100. That's what you need to observe. Even for the B and C, whenever I'm entering the value for A, B, C, I have to enter within this range. That's what you need to remember. Otherwise, I will call that as a invalid. So that's what you need to remember. So fine. The program output may be one of the following words. What should be my output? So you understood about the input. Input should be like, A, B, C. You have to enter the integer values. So within 0 to 100. All right. So what should be my output, sir? Your output will be, one is scalene triangle or isosceles, equilateral or not a triangle. So your output will be any one of these. You will have 4 possible outputs is what I would like to tell you. The first one is scalene triangle or isosceles triangle, equilateral triangle or not a triangle. So this should be the concept that you should remember. So this is what you need to understand with respect to the question. So let me repeat one more time. So the concept for the day is all about triangle problem. So what is the triangle problem? They have given a question. So you have to take 3 inputs. You have to take how many inputs? 3 inputs. All the 3 inputs should be integer. All the 3 inputs should be integer. And these integers, whatever you are entering, it should have a range. Say for example, 0 to 100. Within that you have to enter. Suppose if it is not in the range, then I will be treating that as a invalid. I will be treating that as a invalid. That is what you need to remember. What will be the output? So any one of these will be my output. Either it will be a scalene triangle or isosceles or equilateral and not a triangle. Sir, when will I get my output as scalene triangle? So I have discussed that, right? So all the sides are not equal. So then I will get my output as scalene triangle. Suppose if 2 sides are equal, then I will get it as isosceles triangle. If all the sides are equal, then my output will be equilateral triangle. Suppose if all the cases fails, then it is not a triangle. That's what you need to remember. So fine, guys, before I go to the explanation of triangle problem or the flowchart of triangle, so let me explain something called boundary value analysis. Let me explain something called boundary value analysis. What exactly boundary value analysis is all about? When I was speaking with respect to 0 and 100, I said something called boundary values. Alright, what exactly boundary value is all about? If I say boundary value here, you will not understand. To make you understand the boundary value, so let me take an example like this. In this example, you need to observe here, I have a text box which I need to enter. So what is that I have to enter? I need to enter the age. I need to enter the age. So what is the constraint that I have here? It accepts 18 to 56 characters. It accepts how many characters? 18 to 56 characters. Please observe 18 to 56. You need to compare this example with 0 to 100. Alright. So fine. So 18 to 56 characters I can enter to this text box. That is the constraint that I have. So I need to calculate the boundary values. So how do I calculate? So this is my boundary value analysis table. So here, please observe, I have invalid. So what is the first column? Why do I have that as an invalid? Say for example, when I say this is invalid, so please understand minimum minus 1. Minimum minus 1. Can I say that as an invalid? Yes. Suppose, what is the minimum that I have? Here I have 18. So minimum minus 1 is, can I treat this as an invalid? Obviously it is invalid because it is not in the range. What is the value? So 17 is the value. Can I say 17 as an invalid value? Yes, of course you can say that because it is not in the range. Fine. What is valid then? You have to calculate the minimum value. What is the minimum value? 18 is the minimum value. So fine. So this is valid. Then after that, so plus minimum. Minimum plus 1. So what is the minimum plus 1? So 19. So fine. This is also valid. Okay. So what is the next one that I have? Maximum minus 1. Maximum value is what? 56. Minus 1 is what? 55. So this is also valid. So what is the maximum value? 56. So these 4 values, I will consider it as a valid. These 4 values, I will consider it as a valid. So please observe again, I have the invalid. Again, I have the invalid. What is this invalid? Say for example, maximum plus 1. So what is the maximum value? 56. 56 plus 1. So 57. So this is invalid. This is invalid. So this is what we need to understand. So guys, this is the boundary value analysis. This is what I will call it as a boundary value analysis. What exactly boundary value analysis? So please listen to me carefully. Let me explain the diagram, or let me explain the concept like this. So what is the range? 0 to 1. Is it? No. 0 to 100. So this is the boundary that I have. I have to calculate. So what is the boundary? What is the boundary? So which one is valid and which one is invalid? With the help of boundary value analysis. See here, if you look at this boundary value analysis, you got both invalid. Okay, you got both invalid as well as valid. So with the help of this, we will be calculating the boundary value analysis also. So now let's look into the flowchart of how exactly my triangle problem is being worked out. So guys, here I have taken a flowchart which will explain how exactly the triangle problem is solved. So please observe here. I have the flowchart, like it indicates the start. Okay, so fine. I'm reading the inputs for 3 variables, that is A, B, C, as we discussed, and I have the condition number 1. That is what we are trying to represent with the C1. So what is the condition here that they have given? So A should be less than or equal to 1 and it should be less than or equal to 200 is what they have given here. So again, it depends on your condition and your question. So in the question, they can manipulate the range. There in the question, I have taken 0 to 100. So guys, it is up to you. Whatever the range that you want, you can give the range. So please understand how exactly it is working. Alright, so when it comes to the range, it is up to you whatever the range that you want to give. So you can give and test. So let's check. So this is my condition as of now. That's what you need to understand. So fine. What is that I'm doing here? I'm just checking for my condition. Suppose if the condition is true, if it is satisfying this condition, so guys, it will check the next condition. It will check the next condition. Suppose if the condition is false, so guys, it will say that it is invalid. It will say that it is invalid. After saying invalid, so then again it is going for the next one, that is second condition, that is C2. So suppose if the condition is true without saying invalid, so it will go to the second condition. That's what you need to understand. That's what you need to understand. So what is that? Whenever you enter the value for A, okay, so it should be in the range. Suppose if the value, whatever you have entered, if it is not in the range, so it will say that it is invalid. Say for example, I'm entering the value for A. Let's imagine my range is like, so 1 to, let's imagine 1000. So within this, I have to enter the value. So what I will enter? So I will enter 1001, okay. So I'm giving the presentation in the marriage, that's why this one, okay. So we have the habit, right? Like, we have to give 1 rupee extra. In the same way, 1001 I have taken. So is it in the range? No, it is not in the range. Then what it will say? It will say invalid. Suppose, imagine I have entered A is equal to 95. So is it in the range? Of course it is in the range. So it will not say invalid. Then it will go for the second one. You are allowed to enter the next value for the B. That's what is happening here. So fine. Again, it is, you have to enter the value for B also in the same range. That's what you need to observe here. So fine. If you have entered that in the same range, within the range, so fine. Okay, it will go for the next value. Otherwise, it will say invalid again here. Simple. Again, it will check for the third one. If you have entered the value within the range, it will go for the next one. Otherwise, it will say invalid. Suppose you have entered correctly. What will happen? So please observe here. That is very important. All right. So what is happening here? C1 and C2 and C3 you have entered. Okay. So it is going for an output. A, B, C. It is going for an output. What is happening here? So observe here, I have output A, B, C. So what happens? I have a condition to be tested here. So what is the condition that I have? Triangle inequality is all okay. Suppose if this condition is true, so it will check for the next condition. Otherwise, if the condition is not true, so it will directly print not a triangle. That's what you need to observe. So fine, let's imagine the condition is true. It is going for the next condition. It is checking for A is equal to B and B is equal to C. Suppose if I have A is equal to B and B is equal to C, can I write A is equal to B is equal to C? Yes, of course you can write. Suppose if all the three sides are equal, then what do you call this as? Then you will call this as equilateral triangle. So fine, let's imagine, suppose if this condition is not true, then it is going for the next condition to test. So what is that? So I have A is not equal to B and A is not equal to C and B is not equal to C. If this is true, then it is scale and triangle. If this is true, it is scale and triangle. None of the sides are equal. Suppose if that is not the case, obviously, then it is a isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle in the sense what? Two sides should be equal. Scalar in the sense what? All the sides are not equal. Equilateral in the sense what? All the sides are equal. So this is how you will be classifying the triangles. That's what you need to understand. Sir, why are we discussing the triangle problem here? What is the use of discussing this triangle problem in software testing? My dear students, observe carefully now. So for that triangle problem, so we can write the test case like this. This is very important in this session. So please listen to me carefully. It's going to be very, very important. I have been asking you, I have been repeating, saying that or explaining a word called test cases, but I haven't shown you what exactly the test case is all about. Test cases in the sense possibilities. All right. So listen to me carefully now. So guys, what should be the first possibility that I have? Say in the test case 1, so I have X, Y, Z. Okay. Instead of taking it as A, B, C, here in the test case, I have taken it as X, Y, Z. If you want, I will take it as A, B, C. All right. So this is the variables, input variable that I have taken. So fine. So I have taken the value for the X, that is A is 50 and B is 50 and C is 1. So what will be the output that I can expect? So please understand, two sides are equal. Then obviously the output should be, the expected output is isosceles triangle, right? In the same way, say for example, I have entered 50 and 50. For A and B, the value are same. So the third value I have entered something else. Obviously isosceles triangle. Say for example, here I have entered 50, 50, 50. Obviously all the sides are equal. Then I will get the equilateral triangle. And the next one, please observe here. 50, 50, 99. So I have got isosceles triangle. Why, sir, isosceles triangle for 99? Obviously, two sides are equal, but you need to observe here carefully. I have 50, 50 and 100. I have 50, 50 and 100. So what is this? Invalid entry. The value that you have entered is not in the range. In this case, they have taken less than 100. You have to enter the value less than 100. So for 99, it is giving isosceles, but for 100, it is not giving you the value. So that's what you need to observe here. This is how we write the test cases for all the different combinations of values. Sir, how will I get to know? So till where? Till what is the value? What is the minimum value? What is the maximum value? How do I get to know, sir, to write this test cases? For that, you need to do the boundary value analysis. What is that you need to do? Boundary value analysis. If you do the boundary value analysis, so you will get to know. So what is the input? What is the maximum number? What is the minimum number? To write all the combinations of test cases. Hope you understood by looking at this test case. Let me discuss one more row for all of you. Say for example, again, I have two values equal and I have one value as 1. So obviously it is isosceles triangle. Let me show you one more thing. Now you will understand that. Say for example, here I have taken the value of A as 100 and the rest 2 is 50, 50. It's not a triangle. That's what you need to remember. All right. So this is how we will be writing the test cases. How many test cases I have here? 13 test cases I have here. So guys, this is the first problem that we are discussing. okay, that you need to understand. So with a beautiful concept, that is classification of different triangles that we have with the 3 inputs. So one thing you need to observe here, the first one is range. So that's what we call it as a boundary value analysis. We will be discussing this boundary value analysis in the chapter number 5, okay, but it's not there in the chapter number 2 right now. But still, without the use of boundary value analysis, I feel that it's very meaningless to explain this concept. That's why I have discussed very little concept with respect to the boundary value analysis to discuss the triangle problem. So fine, what is that you have to understand? So first one is triangle problem. So what is that you will understand triangle problem? You will have to enter 3 inputs. So based on that, you will be classifying the different types of triangle. Then after that, so you will be able to write the test cases for this. All right. So this is the concept of test cases. Suppose you will be wondering, like, how exactly test cases will be there, sir. So this is how you will be writing the test cases. All right. By this, I have come to an end of this session. So in the next session, I will be discussing some more interesting topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.